We haven't covered Lauren Chen in a bit, and that's kind of because I find most of her content very insufferable and appealing to just not very well thought out logic, but that really kind of covers a broad variety of people that I cover on my channel. So I guess we just have to do it anyway. But before that, we need to go ahead and make certain that we have a very, very good palette cleanser. So we pop into the fan art section for just such a thing, and from Glovenex, they said she still needs shading, but I finally got to work on this. Very much a work in progress. This is a War-made Suris. Complete, and I just now noticed this, complete with thigh pull. So, yeah, this is my religion now. Okay, thank you. Anyways, as always, thank you very much for your fan art submissions, and if you want your fan art featured on a future episode, the best way to do so is dropping it into the Discord channel. With that said, Asina, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an OWO, and also, this video is entitled, The Truth About the Experts. All hail the experts. Oh boy.
Hey, Lauren here. Let's talk about the FDA. Over the past couple years, I've noticed this type of dogma forming around the experts. You know, we have to listen to the experts, trust the experts, don't challenge the experts. And I am one of the first people to acknowledge that there are so many folks out there who know more than me about science, medicine, really any number of topics, and I am happy to defer to their expertise when necessary. But I think
So maybe you should do that here, Lauren. That I can save you an entire video by just letting you do that. This solves everything. The problem's gone.
we've gotten to a point as a society, and I think the pandemic has really just sped things up, where even questioning someone who is an expert or trying to think for yourself is viewed as heresy.
Right, so it's not that it's viewed as heresy. You're trying to view the way that we look at science through a religious lens. Because your audience is honestly mostly comprised of trad Christians. I've seen your comment section. Appeals to things like heresy work with that crowd. Because they see that and they go, ah, yes, this works within my religious framework. Fact of the matter is, though, it's not that we see denying what the experts are saying is heresy. It's that we will look at you and go, with what expertise are you coming to the table with? When somebody who's made it their job for the entirety of their lifetime, at least, since being an adult, when somebody's made this their job, their focus, when they've studied this and they've presented on it and everything, and not only is it just them, but we have an entire backlog of experts who are all saying the same thing, with what mechanism are you coming to the table to be a voice of deferment? If you are coming in with just, well, it's just my opinion, or, well, I just heard, or, well, what about this? I'm sorry, none of those are going to be good questions. None of those are going to be good perspectives coming to that particular conversation. You're going to have to actually make a case as to why we should defer to you, and not somebody whose actual job it is. Now, continue.
Which is not okay. That's not a sign of respecting science or knowledge. That's actually a sign of being in a cult, which is a total...
No, accepting that there are people who are more knowledgeable on a subject than you and deferring to their knowledge is not a sign of being in a cult. If you want signs of being in a cult, please consider looking at Stephen Hassan's Bide model.
Totally different thing. It's really been strange to see people who previously may have acted as if they were anti-establishment suddenly turn around and become the biggest shills for the establishment and for authority that you've ever seen.
So it depends on what we mean by establishment. If you mean anti-establishment as in the way the government is structured and different societal norms, yeah, that is anti-establishment. But if it's anti-experts, that is not anti-establishment. That's just pro-idiot.
And so in this video, what I wanted to do is choose one group of the experts and just kind of talk about how, no, they're not infallible.
Nobody said they are infallible. Thanks for the straw man. Shark Fox Panda, thank you very much for the 50 bits.
No, like the rest of us, they are not above being corrupted. And why ultimately, even if we aren't experts ourselves, that does not mean we should just give up thinking because other people are doing it for us.
Nobody's saying that we give up thinking. Nobody is saying that we make other people do our thinking for us. These are lowest common denominator appeals to people who think that they know fucking better.
The CDC is like this whole governmental body with scientists and shit that just tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude.
But before we get...
Yeah, okay, so Ethan is not representative of everybody. Continue.
To it, I want to say a huge thank you to this video's sponsor, Ground News. If you're
Nope. You're not allowed to plug. Whenever you plug, we plug. So, just throwing it out there. If you need a new PC, maybe, just maybe, consider going to Artesian Builds. There's a link in the description below. They will build you a custom PC from the ground up. And the best thing is, when they are working on that PC, they will do it live in front of you. And by in front of you, I of course mean on Twitch. They will broadcast the building of your PC so that you can see what goes in it, how it goes in it, and you know that you are getting something you can trust. If you want up to $200 off of any purchase over at Artesian Builds, then please use coupon code NECOSURIS, and that will give you a discount on anything there. Also, the link in my description will take you directly to being able to use that coupon code for a potential purpose. So if you need a new PC, then hey, maybe consider Artesian Builds. Also, SCN Salon, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an ara, you fucking monster. Okay, continuing on.
If you're watching this video, I'm guessing it's because you're really interested in politics and you want to follow current events.
Yeah, but not this. Bye.
Go over who exactly the FDA are. On their site, the FDA writes that the Food and Drug Administration is responsible for protecting the public health by ensuring the safety, efficacy, and security of human and veterinary drugs, biological products, and medical devices, and by ensuring the safety of our nation's food supply, cosmetics, and products that emit radiation. So essentially, the FDA is a regulatory agency that oversees things like food, cosmetics, and drugs. And with the whole COVID situation that's been going on, the CDC, or Centers for Disease Control, has gotten a lot of attention because they're the ones who have been talking about things like mask mandates and such. But the FDA is also relevant when it comes to COVID because ultimately they will be the ones in charge of approving or rejecting treatments for COVID. And by the way, if you're not an American and you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, that's nice, but ultimately this doesn't really affect me since I'm not in America, think again. Because the FDA is so big and so powerful, and because the US is such a large market, even abroad and globally, the FDA does have some power. On their own site, the FDA acknowledges that now scarcely a day goes by without the FDA having intensive formal and informal interactions with foreign counterparts. The FDA's international programs have grown in breadth and depth, and its experts are called on to direct, manage, and coordinate the growing body of international work across the agency. Okay, now one of the ways in which you've probably heard of the FDA recently is that they just approved the Pfizer vaccine for COVID. Previously, the Pfizer vaccine was being used under emergency use authorization, which is still how like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is being administered. But now the FDA has given its full stamp of approval for the Pfizer vaccine to be used in individuals, I think, over 15 or 16 years of age. But here is where we come to our first caveat in trusting the experts. In their statement confirming that the Pfizer vaccine had been given approval, the FDA also announced that, quote, the vaccine also continues to be available under emergency use authorization, including for individuals 12 through 15 years of age and for the administration of a third dose in certain immunocompromised individuals. So to be clear, at the moment, the FDA is only recommending booster shots for certain immunocompromised individuals.
Why do you have the finger quotes there? What does that add to that statement? For what purpose did you use them?
That's not what the CDC is recommending. As the CBC reported, the US CDC on Friday backed a booster shot of the Pfizer vaccine for Americans age 65 and older, some adults with underlying medical conditions, and some adults in high-risk working and institutional settings. The move comes after an advisory panel to the agency on Thursday did not recommend that people in high-risk jobs, such as healthcare workers, teachers, and risky living conditions, should get boosters. The panel had recommended boosters for elderly and some people with underlying medical conditions. questions. So in this situation, which the experts are we supposed to trust?
Okay, so let's go ahead and take a second to check. Does she have her sources here? Because that would be incredibly helpful. Okay. So, the experts over at a place like the CDC, blah, 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 join my locals community, my media channel, our soap, Twitter, Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute, P.O. Box. Lauren is a political and social fair use notice. And I'm just going to say right now that fair use notice is fucking pointless. Anyway, okay, so you don't list where you actually pulled these things from. So, let's go ahead and check FDA approval of Pfizer vaccine. And let's see if we can go directly to their website. Now let's check CDC approval of Pfizer vaccine. And let's check their website. Let's do both of these. Okay. All right. So, Pfizer vaccine has been available under EUA for individuals 16 years of age or older, and the authorization was expanded to include those 12 through 15 years of age on May 10th, 2021. EUAs can be used by the FDA during public health, blah, blah, blah. FDA-approved vaccines undergo the agency standard process for reviewing and quality. Okay. FDA evaluation of safety, effectiveness date for approval of 16 years of age and older. So the first EUA was a vaccine for individuals 16 years and older based on effectiveness from a random controlled group. To support the FDA's approval decision today, FDA reviewed updated data from the clinical trial, which supported the EUA and included a longer duration of follow-up in a larger clinical trial period. Specifically, the FDA's approval. The agency analyzed the effectiveness of data from approximately 20,000 vaccine and 20,000 placebo recipients aged 16 and older, and they did not have evidence of the COVID-19 virus infection within the week of receiving the second dose. The safety of Comirnaty was evaluated again. Based on the results of the clinical trial, the vaccine was 91% effective in preventing the disease. That is interesting. So, more than half of the clinical trial participants were followed for safety outcomes for at least 4 months after the second dose. Overall, approximately 12,000 recipients have been followed for at least 6 months. The most commonly reported side effect has been pain, redness, and swelling at the injection site, which is normal for any time somebody shoves a fucking needle in you. Ongoing safety monitoring. Okay, so this is just saying that it was approved and this is why it was approved. Cool. Now let's look at CDC. What is their recommendation? The Pfizer vaccine is recommended for people 12 years and older. But Lauren, what did it say on yours? Americans 65 and older, some adults with underlying conditions, some adults in high-risk working in institutional settings. Lauren, this seems to line up very well with this. These seem to agree with each other. Ages 12 and up for the FDA, and ages 12 and up for the CDC. So, Lauren, what happened here? These experts agree with one another, and I'm checking it right fucking now. I have a theory. I have a theory is what's probably happened, and correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe somebody will find evidence that this is not the case. My theory is that the CDC and FDA websites did not update at the same time. And when they did not update at the same time, that is likely the time, September 27th of this year, that is likely the time that you grabbed your screen grabs from the individual websites. That is my guess. Maybe I'm wrong. I could probably use the Wayback Machine to find out, but I'm currently live, and I don't care to because I've already looked at both websites, straight from the FDA and straight from the CDC, and found that no, these experts agree with one another. Yeah, no, I know, Kira Sakura. I could use the Wayback Machine. But that would basically be to sate my curiosity as to a why. But the fact that, as of right now, the experts do agree with one another means that it doesn't matter either way. What we see here... Found it. Okay, so that's where the actual thing is from the New York Times. Cool. But what I'm saying here, Lauren, is that you are trying to spin the narrative that the experts do not have a consensus, which would be a compelling narrative if that was the case. But as you can see, when we actually go to the websites that publish the information directly from those websites, we don't actually find the information that you are talking about. We find that they agree with one another. The FDA approves the vaccines for emergency use for ages 12 and up, and the CDC recommends the vaccines for people ages 12 and up. These are opinions, both based in science, that both agree with one another. And yet, here we have you, in your video, trying to play a story spinner. Okay.
The panel had recommended boosters for elderly and some people with underlying medical conditions. So, in this situation, which the experts are we supposed to trust?
We're apparently supposed to trust the expert that is Asina Salon for putting me at channel point gunpoint and throwing me into the fucking fray and dropping a fucking bomb for 50,001 channel points, forcing me at channel point gunpoint to say words that are literally meant only for war. Thank you for that, Asina. Thank you very much for making me say these terrible, cringy-ass words. Oh, whoa. And that's all you're getting out of me. We're done. Alright, Lauren. Continue to show me why pundits should be an embarrassment to the entirety of all political commentary. And that includes myself. I literally hide behind a cartoon, though.
The FDA is saying boosters for people who are immunocompromised. The CDC's advisory panel is saying boosters for the elderly and for people who are immunocompromised, but the CDC themselves are saying boosters for the elderly, people who are immunocompromised, and people who are working in high-risk conditions. How are we supposed to listen to the experts and trust the experts when the experts don't even agree with themselves?
All right, so let's go back here. Booster isn't even a thing said on the FDA's website. General information. Let's see here. Learn more about booster shots. Okay, so this is just about... Okay, so the booster shot part doesn't fucking matter. Apparently. It matters so little that that actual word is not on the FDA website. And then over here, we've got learning more about booster shots. Let's learn more about booster shots, everybody. Okay, a COVID vaccine booster shots are available for the following people. Anyone age 18 up who lives in high-risk setting, anyone age 18 up who works in high-risk settings, anyone age 18 up who has underlying medical conditions, anyone age 18 up who has long-term care issues, and anybody who's 65 years and older. Studies show that after getting vaccinated against COVID-19, protection against the virus may decrease over time and be less able to protect against the Delta variant. Although COVID-19 vaccination for adults aged 65 and older remains effective in preventing severe disease, suggested vaccination is less effective at preventing infections or milder illness with symptoms. Okay. Data from a small clinical trial shows that a Pfizer-BioNTech booster shot increased the immune response in trial participants who finished their primary series 6 months earlier. This looks to be the same trial that the FDA was talking about. The one with 20,000 placebos and 20,000 live shots. So again, we do not see a contradiction here. We don't. And yeah, booster shots are My gut instinct says boosters will probably be needed. Like, here's the thing. Booster shots are a thing that we get with other vaccines anyway. The idea... Asina. Asina! Asina, come on! Have mercy! Have fucking mercy! Jesus Christ. I should have put it at 100,000 channel points. Y'all can't be trusted. Y'all literally hoard armaments. You are an argument against the NRA. Anyways, for holding me at channel point gunpoint twice, the same person somehow saved up 100,002 channel points because they dropped another bomb. Now we have to say those cringy fucking words again. Oh, well. Nope. 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 I'm gonna take a drink. Fuck. You guys can't be trusted with anything. Fine, I'll say it again just so it sounds more correctly. Ooh woo. There, better. You got a free one. Because I blame you for this. Lauren, I blame you for all of my suffering right now. It is because I am covering your content that we are here. But, basically, we don't see a contradiction in the FDA report about boosters. We don't see anything about that. So we defer to where the CDC is talking about boosters, and the CDC has its recommendations laid out. We don't see the contradiction from earlier that Lauren tried to lay out, because the CDC and FDA seem to agree on practically everything else in their reports. So where are we left? Do we even have to continue this video at this point? Is there a point to it? We'll do just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. But I think largely the point's already been made.
Very confusing stuff. But what's also interesting about the FDA approving the Pfizer vaccine is that now there are so many people who are saying, you see all of you people who were hesitant about the vaccine, well, now you can rest easy and just go get the Pfizer shot because the FDA approved it, which means that all the testing has been done, all the kinks have worked out, it's all good, you can trust it 100%.
No, that's not how things work. The testing is always still being done. We are always still getting more data in. But when we are 99.9% sure of the effectiveness, 99.9% sure of the safety, that's the time to roll things out. In science, we are never 100% sure about anything. The idea of 100% certainty is a mathematical lie. Just letting you know that right now. As a matter of practicality, there comes a point where we have to say, we've done enough to throw it out, and we will continue to do tests as a just-in-case, because that is the responsible thing to do. That is how scientific testing like this works. You don't get everything to 100% and then you're done, because getting everything to 100% would require testing for 10, 20, 30 years. Even if you could get yourself to a semblance of 100%, which again is a mathematical impossibility here. When you are in the middle of a global pandemic, you do not have that kind of time, Lauren. You do not have 100% certainty time. It's like if a building is breaking out from under your feet, and you have the choice to jump to the next building, there is not 100% certainty that your legs will not break when you land on the next building, because it is maybe a story down. It's a little shorter. Now, there is a chance that you could wait for your building to pancake a little bit more and then jump when you're a little closer to that edge, but that's not a guarantee either. There is no 100% guarantee there, but you have to take the jump to save yourself, else you die. Same thing with the shots. There is a point where you have to just go, okay, we've done enough testing, we know that it's 91% effective, we know that it is 99% safe, and we know, or 99.999, again, the amount of people who've suffered clots and other things is very minimal. Once you've hit that point, That's your time to go. That's your smoking gun. Waiting for you to have this magic arbitrary 100% number is not the time. It has never been the time. It has never been how any vaccine worked ever in the history of ever. In fact, even in the creation of vaccines, there was not a 100% guarantee at all, because it was literally one guy smearing cowpox on a person to see if it gave them immunity. Literally. I'm not joking. That's how medicine works, Lauren. There are no guarantees. Nothing is 100%. But we know they're safe enough. We don't do surgeries with 100% certainty. There is always a chance for complication, but they are safe enough. That's what we do. That's how medicine works. Dingus. Wow, I accidentally muted her. Her video got a lot more tolerable at that point.
So much since this news came out, but the thing is, that's not what FDA approval actually means. And even in the press release itself, the FDA does acknowledge that they're still doing more testing on the effects of the Pfizer vaccine.
Yeah, because that is what a responsible organization would do. You are trying to use that as an argument that they're not a responsible organization and therefore should not be trusted here. There are things the FDA has done in the past that would lead me to believe they should not be trusted 100%. But when we have the numbers, when we can look at the studies, when we can see the actual end results of everything, and they are transparent about all of that on their website, down to the number of people who had placebos, then yeah, I'm going to go ahead and trust that data, because that data looks solid. It is as rigorous as I would want data to be when studying something that I would put into my body, Lauren. Granted, I didn't do the same amount of study for that chocolate bar earlier, but, you know, that's, we don't talk about that. Anyways, point is, Lauren, studies would still be being done. There are still studies being done on over-the-counter painkillers that people take right now all the fucking time. The fact that studies are still being done does not mean that something is not generally safe. Not to mention this straw man that, well, now the FDA is saying that it's safe, so it's good. That is not what is actually happening. Generally, with those conversations, there are anti-vaxxers who say, it hasn't even had FDA approval, so I'm not going to trust it. Why would I trust it in my body if it ain't even FDA approved? And yeah, that is certainly a thing to consider, or at least it was, and I mean, it was technically approved anyway. We had emergency approval, but the conversation about, hey, it is FDA approved, is for the people who have been engaging in that bad faith argument. The people who weren't going to be taking the vaccine anyway, and they just wanted a smorgasbord of arguments they could use in their favor to argue that they shouldn't take the vaccine more. This is what happens. It's called working from an a priori. It's also called confirmation bias. You work from the a priori that you shouldn't take the vaccine because vaccine's bad. Give any number of reasons why. And then you will then start finding other reasons why you shouldn't use the vaccine. The ultimate reason is you just don't want to. Probably because, unless you're immunocompromised or there is some history in your body where you shouldn't take one, probably because you're a little bitch. That's the actual reason. It's little bitch syndrome. But outside of the a priori of little bitch syndrome, you start going, it's not FDA approved. There's one reason not to take it. The Bible says not to put anything unnatural in your body. So that's a reason not to take it. I don't trust it because it's unnatural. Outside of the biblical reason. There's another reason not to take it. Hey, I have a strong immune system. I'm just going to trust my immune system. Again, that's not the reason you're actually doing it. Little bitch syndrome's the reason you're doing it. That's your a priori. Everything else you've stacked on as icing on the cake. But the inside, the core of that cake, is still your little bitch syndrome. Continue.
Specifically, it's written that, in addition, although not FDA requirements, the company has committed to additional post-marketing safety studies, including conducting a pregnancy registry study to evaluate pregnancy and infant outcomes after receipt of Comirnaty during pregnancy.
They've said it 1,000 times in the news. Comirnaty. You're a pundit. Comernity. You can say it. Comernity. Okay, continue.
Okay, I probably butchered that word, but
Yeah.
I just think it's really strange that specific studies done on pregnant women for some reason are not necessary according to the FDA. Like as a
No. That is not what that said. You fucking. No, we're done with her video. I'm gonna respond to this point. But I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you right now. This is what I feel when I hear this. This is what I feel when I listen to Lauren.
Oh, no.
That is what I feel when I listen to you. Lauren, that said that additional studies, additional ones, were not part of FDA requirements. Additional ones. Do you know what is required for there to be an additional study? One of the requirements for there to be an additional study is for there to have already been a study at one point. Is for there to have already been a point in time where pregnant women were considered during trials. That is what that means, Lauren. Additional studies means we've already fucking done some, and we're doing more. Holy shit. Once more for the people in the back.
Oh, no.
No! Oh my god. Lauren, you break me. I am more broken by the things you say than by the cringy things chat makes me say when they drop thousands of channel points, forcing me to say weird shit. Shark Fox has just dropped a link. This is for anyone who thinks you can't be trusted because you're technically not a scientist. This is from Professor Stick, who actually does work in the field, and he literally just gives the same argument you did. Well, that is enlightening. I'm glad to know. I guess I'll have to go ahead and just drop his link in my video as well. Might as well. There's no harm in it. Professor Stick's a good guy. So we'll do that. There'll be a link to Professor Stick's video in my description. He probably goes into more detail than I do. He is far more qualified for this than I am. I'm literally just a commentator on the internet who knows a little bit about politics. Sorry, I'm sure you didn't know. You're fine. Professor Stick's a good person. I'm okay with links to his channel being dropped. Okay, that's about all I can do. Lauren, you and I... No. You and I, nothing. Stay far away from me. Anyways, if you enjoyed this content as much as it hurt, then let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, everyone... Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. If you want access to behind-the-scenes content for the channel, please consider checking out my Patreon. I do weekly vlogs over there, where I give real-life updates to what's going on behind the scenes on the channel, stuff that you don't really get over here, and even on Twitch. Patreon also helps the channel's stability a whole lot. Without Patreon, I wouldn't be able to do this at all. Especially with the kind of content that I do, neither YouTube nor Twitch are the most stable sources of income. If you are a $20 and up patron, then you will be featured on the ending slides as shown in the beginning of the end credits. If you want to catch the streams where all this content comes from, then consider heading over to Twitch and following. And if you want to continue watching over here on YouTube, maybe consider clicking one of the end screen videos. And once again, I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me over on my channel. I wouldn't be able to do literally anything that I'm doing over here on YouTube without each and every one of you. So, thank you.